Paulo, welcome to the Democratizing SEO podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. How about you?
Yes, very well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on. Today, we're going to talk about how SEOs can better work with Google. And you have an interesting profile I saw on LinkedIn. You have been an SEO for how long now? Have you been an SEO professional?
I want to say 15 years.
So you've seen the changes and you've seen the way SEO has evolved. And you have a lot to say about SEOs working better with Google. So let's start let's start there. How would you say SEOs currently work with Google?
Yeah, what I see the most is people working to try to trick Google into doing something on their benefit instead of trying to make their websites or their products better so users go to Google looking for them. And that's the number one mistake I see people making when they're trying to have a better SEO for their websites. One example would be people. I'm sorry.
So go ahead.
Yeah. One example would be people creating millions of pages trying to achieve the perfect landing page with the perfect title, perfect description for every locale in every country when they don't even provide services on those locales just to be on Google.
Why do you think SEOs have a tendency to do this?
It's a very simple-minded thinking that if I have a page with that perfect title, that perfect description, it's a perfect match, and then Google will give me that traffic. And we know that's not true. Google has been changing a lot since the past 15 years, but even before, where Google understands better the intent before or behind that query, that topic, that term that people use on Google. So, and when I say Google, I'm also meaning Bing or ChatGPT or whatever form that you type into it. There is a thinking behind it that makes the translation between what you're typing and what you actually mean.
There's in on the web, quite recently, there's been a lot of talks about the web being rubbish because of Google. Because of SEOs. So they say SEOs are responsible for the mess that we see on Google. Do you agree with this? Do you think it's partially true? Where do you stand with this topic?
Unfortunately, it's true. The web has changed because of SEO, and the web has changed because of SEOs, the people. So when you're forced to have results, otherwise you lose your job, and you have two options: try to do something that will pay off in 6 months, or try to do something that will pay off in 1 week. The second option is usually the one that people take. And I saw someone posting that they now do before 2023 on Google. So you search something and they do before 2023. So it's before the AI stuff, before the content marketing being used heavily. So that's maybe a life hack. I don't know.
So in an ideal world, how would an SEO go about optimizing a site to ensure that they are on site and aligned with Google, whilst also generating revenue for the company they work for?
Yeah, it's undeniable that there are SEO best practices. Your title should be this long. Your description should have the call to action that you're trying people to do on your website. Okay, we understand that. But at the same time, you have to think with the product team on your website, or becoming a better product for the users that you're trying to attract to your website. And we're saying website, we could also be saying web app or Android app, iPhone app. The idea here is that all the time, the user is the person that will give you the money they have into your account or the time they have into your website. So trying to please Google is important. Yes, there's the best practices. You have to go to the Google Search Central and see the documentation for sure. But it should not be the first thing you have in mind. So if you have something useful, if you have something that's the best information you can get, the best product you can get, then you go out there and you market it. And then you market it both to people and to robots. Robots being Google, search engines being, etc.
Some SEOs will say crawling a site, so indexation is the first thing that matters from a website optimization point of view. Others will say actually the business's goals and what the business is trying to achieve is the first thing that matters. Where do you stand between these two different points of views?
Oh, I'm gonna do it depends. It depends on if you're thinking technical SEO, yes, crawling. If you don't get your website crawled, then it doesn't matter. All the rest, if you have the perfect title, but you're blocking robots text, what's the point? But if you have a bad product, if you have a bad experience, then it doesn't really make sense for you to have a very good technical SEO. People don't like your product, but it loads super fast. It has all the green checks from the tool that you like. It doesn't matter. You can have good SEO for bad products, but then it's not good marketing. It's not a good product fit.
SEO is so wide and broad, right? There is so many areas that you can focus on, even within the 3 or 4 main pillars: on page, off page, technical, data. That still, each one of those areas are huge in themselves, right? And then there is the case of having to keep updated with Google's algorithms. Let's say someone is an aspiring SEO. Where would you recommend they start if they wanted to be an SEO today or start today?
That's an interesting one, because people ask me if they should start the SEO career in 2024, and my first instinct is to ask if they like marketing, not if they like to code or if they like to create websites. So if you're a marketer that likes to both talk to Google and to users, then I think SEO is a good career for you. Yes, there's AI. Yes, there's these new technologies that are coming and they are making our job different, but I don't see SEO going anywhere. And if I would to recommend someone to start SEO in 2024, what they have to do would be to first have a website that they really like, that they really use, and try to see how it works, but not from the code perspective or from the technical perspective, but see how they take your attention, how they grab your time, how they make you come back to that website, see what you like about it, see what you don't like about it, and see competitors. So I'm not even talking SEO, title, description, and etc., all the classics. I'm just talking, check the marketing first. And then if you think this exercise is too boring or you don't like it, then you probably will not be a good fit for an SEO role. Even though that SEO can be really technical, as you said, or that SEO could be, let's say, just link building, I still think that the marketing mindset needs to be there, because if you're trying to get a link from someone else to your website, you're pitching your website to someone else. If you're trying to make your website better for Google, you're pitching your page or website to Google in a way that, hey, Google, for this, oh, I'm glad my phone didn't go. Hello, search engine. If someone is searching for my website's really good because of this, and that. It's the schema markup, it's the page speed, it's the title, it's the description, it's content, everything that I've been working on, here it is. serve it to people and people will like it. So if you don't have the marketing mindset, SEO is not for you.
You mentioned marketing mindset, and I'm getting the impression that it's slightly different to the SEO mindset. So how would you differentiate the two, marketing mindset and SEO mindset? And is there a third one, business mindset?
Definitely. I think there's the business mindset, marketing mindset, and SEO mindset. I would differentiate them by saying that SEO mindset, you're trying to please Google and you're doing technical stuff, title descriptions, speed performance, schema markup. Some of these things are not even visible to people, even though they experience it. But then you have one foot on the marketing mindset is when you, and this is Google's last movements, when they start to introduce EEAT, when they start to introduce mobile friendliness, where you see that the user is the most important thing. And when users don't trust your website, when users cannot access your website from a mobile device, then your website will not rank in SEO on Google or whatever other search engine. So you have some parts of your website that are trying to please both marketing and SEO. But that doesn't work if you don't think about the business mindset as well. It's very beautiful to say, oh, I got 10% month over month more traffic to my website. Okay, good for you. How much money did it make? How many new users did it bring? If you don't have that, if you don't have those metrics, you're being your vision is narrow. And then in the end of the quarter, when someone asks, does SEO work? Yes, it works to acquire traffic. It's a traffic acquisition strategy, tactic. Yes. Does it bring money? And you don't have that answer, then you don't have the business mindset.
With businesses who look at SEO as this is something that is going to make me money, and let's say 3 months or even 6 months down the line, it hasn't yet made them money, but they have still invested in SEO. What can the SEO do to convince the business that this is still a worthwhile channel to invest in?
I know that the free traffic argument is not 100% true, but it is something that we cannot avoid. SEO is here and you need to have it if you want to have a business online. You can survive on ads, yes, but everyone knows that the cost per click is not getting any lower. You know, or everyone knows that Google is trying to control more and more how you run your ads campaign. So you have the performance max, you have all these things that are being controlled by AI. So you don't touch your keywords anymore. So you don't have all the control that you used to have. In SEO, of course, we don't have control about everything as well, but we are getting more and more information about how our site performs on Google. And by having that, SEO becomes more and more interesting over time. It's not the way it could be. There's a lot of things that could be better in Google Search Console, in Ahrefs, SEMrush, and all these tools, of course. But still, SEO is a very interesting traffic acquisition. And when you know what you're doing, it can become a very important money bringer to your company. So yeah, I don't see SEO going anywhere this year, next year, the next 10 years.
Although I'm sure there'll be plenty of articles talking about SEO is dead.
Oh yeah, definitely. As every year for the past 15 years at least.
Yeah. When I think of SEOs working better or better working with Google, I always think of Google's end goal. So what Google are trying to achieve. And every SEO has their version of what Google's objectives are or is. From your point of view, what do you think Google ultimately wants to achieve?
That's a good one. I think, because this is a very personal opinion, because every one of us, we're working in different niches.
Yeah.
I'm working with e-commerces, so I see Google taking over the product related query. So when you search for Nike red shoes, yes, you're going to see a lot of products from Google sending traffic directly to the e-commerce, to the site comparison feature on some websites or things like that. Especially in Europe with the Digital Markets Act, you can see that Google is showing more products from more websites, and they're not only focusing on Amazon, they're not only focusing on Google Shopping anymore. That's, of course, because of the law that was passed in Europe, but I see Google trying to be the place where you go to search a product. Myself, when I want to buy something, the first place I go to is Amazon. If I find something decent enough, I buy it there. But Google tries to change that. I'm pretty sure if someone is working on a video website, they will have a different mindset where they will think that Google is trying to prioritize YouTube over everything else. Again, this is being discussed with the DMA, but I think every niche has a different relationship with Google. If you asked someone from the travel industry 10 years ago, what's Google's end goal? They would be saying, yeah, it's to help us find the best travel from A to B. And now with Google Flights, they are like, yeah, Google is trying to kill us.
Yeah.
So it depends. It's another one. It depends. It depends on the industry. It depends on the person you ask. And when you ask, last year, 2 years ago, it was totally different. Now with their new head of search, I forgot her name, but she is telling everyone that AI is here and it's here to stay, and it's going to be the next big thing on Google. So if you're creating content and you want the featured snippets that you used to have 2 years ago, I don't see that happening. SGE is here and it's going to take that space from you. And even if you rank and SGE steals your content, traffic is not going to your website. So when you ask me, where is Google going? I would say SGE trying to take over some important portion of the SERP, but at the same time, trying to distribute traffic for more e-commerces. So every niche is different.
Yeah, totally agree with that. When you think of SGE and the way the SERPs have changed and the way search engines have changed, as well as users' expectations when they use search engines, and couple that in with AI now coming into mainstream. If you were to predict in the near future, and I'll let you decide on the time frame, right, of where search is headed, and be as wild as you want to, completely wild as you want to, where do you think things are headed, either overall or specifically in your niche?
Okay, let's take a niche. Let's say e-commerce. When you're browsing for something and you're searching for something that you want to buy, let's focus on the e-commerce niche, but with the purchase intent. You're doing your comparison. I think AI is taking over. If you have a comparison website that doesn't appear on SG or doesn't have any highlights from Google to say, yeah, this is the comparison between iPhone and Google Pixel, then your website will be much lower on SERPs. And that's not, I don't know, not taking more than 6 months, a year. Predictions are tough because Google has said a lot of things about SG, and they took it back. But it's complicated. But now thinking about the content creation type of business, let's say if you're trying to rank for the latest dress that someone wore, SG is probably taking over that as well. They can crawl the New York Times that wrote about it. They can take that content, put it on top with the image. You already have your information. You're good to go. So informational queries are more in danger than transactional queries. Google is not selling things directly from Google to the final customer. So if I were to bet, transactional queries have at least another year. Informational queries, they don't have that long.
If informational queries are pretty much they're no longer valuable. They're no longer a valuable type of query. Do you think there's a possibility then? And I'll explain what I mean in a moment. But do you think there's a possibility that there is more of a demand around transactional or commercial queries? And the reason I ask this is because, you're 15 years in. I'm sure you've seen how lyrics, right? Companies, they used to song lyrics. Companies, they used to do very well with song lyrics. And then Google started showing them in the SERPs. And it drastically changed businesses, right, that were in that niche. But it didn't kill them off, right? And I'm wondering if informational based queries are there to help users to carry out their research quickly, does this then mean along their search journey, they reach the end point quicker, and then potentially search more during the end point of their search journey? Hence, commercial transactional queries seeing a rise in demand.
That's an interesting point. With the lyrics thing, I play guitar, and when I want to know the lyrics of a song, I go on Google. But when I want to know the chords that I have to play, I go to another website because they have a better experience. So if you just, and I think that's the point, that if you just rely on the information is there for everyone. Everyone has access to information now. What's the experience you're providing to people when they're searching for the information you have? And that also applies to e-commerce, of course, because if I'm trying to buy a bottle of water and Amazon is trying to sell it to me, or you are trying to sell it to me, who gives me the best experience? I think most of us that purchase on Amazon, part of the experience is the return policy and the fast shipping, right? Those are the biggest pain points for people trying to buy anything online, at least. If someone provides a better experience than Amazon on one or maybe those 2 points, they will probably get some customers from Amazon. There's no loyalty online. For informational queries, I think that's the same thing. You can have an experience where you send recurrent emails to people with information that they're looking for. I don't know, if I am a very big fan of a football team, I want to receive that information as a notification on my phone, as an email on Monday morning or close to lunchtime, so I can be updated about my team near lunchtime, because that's when I talk to my friends about my team. If you just have the information, that's not good enough. That's not good enough anymore. That was good enough back in the day when there was no competition, but now you need to take the next step. And that's the same with e-commerce. That's the same with comparison sites. That's the same with all websites, really.
Mm-hmm. I want to touch on Amazon and their search functionality versus Google's. But before I do, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are around these changes impacting SEOs jobs? Over the last 15 years, I'm sure you've seen many changes and quote unquote threats to the SEO industry and SEO jobs in particular. Do you think AI and the changes we're seeing with AI is going to impact SEO jobs for the better and or for the worse?
I don't know if it's a matter of better or worse, but it's going to be different for sure. I remember before the programmatic SEO that we had teams and hundreds of people working in companies just to create as much content as possible. And then the spinners came and they started to create content much easier. Google came and killed them all. Then all these people got fired. AI did the same thing. Oh, let's create content. There was this person blabbing around on Twitter that they were copying XML sitemaps from competitors and creating content on top of that. They got penalized as well. So it's going to be for the better when people know how to use AI, and it's going to be for the worse if they try to trick Google. And then we come back to the first topic of our conversation, that if you try to trick Google, you're not really doing SEO, you're just trying to manipulate and have a short-term result. So I think AI is a tool in our belt that we use, but it's not here to guide our career. It's here to be a sidekick that we use it here and there to make our work easier. Like I use ChatGPT all the time to use regex, because I try to learn it, but I just can get around it.
It just makes life so simpler, right? I do the same thing.
Yeah, I want to do regex that makes this and this results come into one. Okay, yeah, sure. And then it gives me the result. I go on Google Search Console, I have the perfect regex. So yeah, I think it's going to be for the better for people that know how to use it, and for worse when people try to trick Google. They might even scale a team on their company just to make some quick buck, and then some people get hired to do that. 3-4 months down the road, they get fired because there's a manual penalty and there's nothing they can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's come on to Amazon. You use Amazon. I use Amazon. I use Amazon specifically for products, and I notice, when I'm using Amazon, generally I'm just browsing as a customer, right? But every now and then my SEO hat comes on, and I notice whenever I use Amazon, I go directly to Amazon and start my search on Amazon. I don't start the search on Google or look for products on Google. There are a few times when I do, and that's after having used Amazon and not being able to find the products that I'm seeking. Then I go to Google and search directly on Google. What are your thoughts on Amazon being an unknown threat generally to Google search?
Yeah, for the product or for the transactional queries, definitely. Amazon has provided a very good service for users. And we can debate about 30% margins and all the things that they do with brands. I don't think we're here to discuss that, but they have this power that people are so used with them. I'm paying €9 per month, so I have access to faster shipping and priority whatever. I have Amazon Prime Video that I never watch because no, they have good stuff. It's just I'm probably there. I think 75% of the reason is the products.
Yeah, yeah.
So And I agree with you. The way I do it is I go to Amazon, I search on their internal search, which is good enough. I always find what I want, and then just a little filter here and there, and you find a good product with a good price. If you try to do the same on Google, it's going to be different because they have to serve more websites, including Amazon. So when you compare, I just got this monitor holder arm thingy that you have a clamp and then your monitor is floating in your desk. I got it today. I bought it yesterday. I got it today.
Nice.
Yeah, and now my desk has more space and everything. So I tried to search on Google because I was thinking, yeah, no, that's too much. Maybe Amazon is not having the best prices anymore because they have control over the process of buying something. I tried Google. It's not the same thing. They have either very expensive products because I think their CPA agreements, they have a margin based on the final value of the product, or they have very strange products. Like I had one with 3 monitors and I was searching single arm monitor holder. I think that was the query that I used. So I think the single should be a qualifier for single monitor, but not single. I don't know what Google was thinking about, but it was not the result I wanted. Then I found Amazon, I gave up, and I bought it. Less than 24 hours later, it was here. And was very difficult to mount, by the way. but yeah, Amazon is controlling the way people buy online, and they are always bringing new features. We were thinking of getting a new couch, and now you have this check how it looks in your space, and then via AR, you can see how it looks in your living room. That's amazing.
E-commerce is special to search. And I use that word special because from Google's point of view, from search point of view, all of these big companies, they focus on e-commerce first. Amazon, all about e-commerce products. The same thing I saw with TikTok when they expanded what they're offering is from a social media platform to now an ecosystem. One of the first areas that they decided to focus on was shop, e-commerce, products. And I'm noticing a trend with a lot of these big companies. They are very much focused on ecosystems. And the more people spend time on these ecosystems, the more they search on the platforms itself. So now people are used to searching on Amazon if they want products. I love Google. I use Google daily, but for specific things like products, I go on Amazon first. And I'm sure people who use TikTok regularly, potentially Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they do a similar thing on that platform. They search for stuff on that platform first. The more all of this happens, users have a certain expectation from results or searching for stuff to finding exactly what they're seeking. So they're going from search results to search answers. I'll even go a step further. Moments ago, you mentioned using ChatGPT for regex, right? You could, in theory, and I do the same thing, use ChatGPT for regex. I could, in theory, go on Google and search for stuff, right? But I know it's a longer process because I have to sift through the information. It doesn't give me the answer. It gives me a result. It's a different thing to an answer, right? So the more all of this is happening and it changes users' behavior, what would you say SEOs will have to do in the near future?
I love that concept of answer instead of result, because I finally installed TikTok just to see what was going on with that first I think it was January or February, that they were talking about, TikTok SEO is now a thing. People are searching on TikTok before searching on Google.
Yeah.
And for some things, it makes sense. Like if I wanted to know how to use a drill, yeah, TikTok is better than Google, because in 1 minute I'll learn. Not everything about it, not all the comparisons, but I'll learn the basics. And that's what I'm there for. If I have another question, then let's say how to put the battery on a drill. Okay, 1 minute. Then I'm struggling with how to change the tip of the drill. Another video, another minute. I don't have to go through YouTube and then see a 15-minute video about everything about a drill. I just want that answer. And I loved your concept. Searching for answers, not for results. What SEOs need to do about it? I think first, adapt. To me, TikTok is unbearable. I cannot stay more than 15 minutes. I have an alert. Don't use TikTok for more than 15 minutes. Same thing with Instagram, same thing with whatever. TikTok, I never reached that limit. It's funny because it's not created to me. I'm not the public. I'm not the audience that they're looking for. So we have to adapt. We have to learn with younger people about TikTok. We have to learn with older people about email marketing. They saw the whole history about email marketing. We are just seeing one part of it. TikTok, people were immersed on it. And then, as you said, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they were born with it. So we have to adapt, learn. And most importantly, we have to be available on those platforms. And when I'm thinking about SEO and TikTok, all I want to do every time is to embed TikTok content on product pages. Okay, it's amazing. Amazon has this, like with this product that I just bought yesterday, they have this produced video from someone with 3D image with a dark background and perfect lighting. But I want to see someone real using the product and struggling with it, because if they struggle, maybe I'll be in the same situation. Now, YouTube has videos of people assembling stuff and unboxing and everything, but TikTok is, and don't get me wrong, I don't like TikTok, but the positive side they have is they are real people showing their interactions with products. YouTube is more polished, Amazon is more polished, and sometimes we want that experience from the EEAT. We want the experience that people actually had with the product and not the manufactured or the prepared situation that sometimes happens when you go to YouTube video or to Amazon reviews section.
Mm-hmm. Whenever SEOs think of the concept of having high authoritative, high quality, relevant, and engaging content, we think of that in the I'm trying to think of the best word to describe this, but all I can think of is prism. We think of content within the prism of a page, right? So we deal with pages when we think of content. However, these platforms, they don't necessarily rely or need or require pages anymore, right? They just require one to be on the platform, to have visibility on the platform. Which leads me to question the concept around unique content. Because if we're saying Google is a platform, big one, sure, but a platform. TikTok, Amazon, however many platforms there are, let's say 5 platforms. And you're aiming to have visibility on these platforms with your content, right? Where does the concept of duplicate content stand when it comes to, you don't necessarily need to have content within pages anymore? All you need to do is have content within platforms. It doesn't matter whether it's duplicate or not.
Good question. And I like it because like on Instagram, you have the shops inside a profile, a business profile. On TikTok, you also have I think it's commerce that they call. I don't remember now, but they also have
on TikTok.
I think it's also, maybe it's also shop, that you can go into a profile and then you click on shop and then you buy products from that influencer. Same thing YouTube, same thing Amazon. People are sending links from one to the other. So you can check my link in bio and buy this exact same product. When we think about duplicated content, I'm thinking here that sometimes we should duplicate content from our properties to our properties. So if you have your Amazon store and you have your website, you should not leave everything on the Amazon store because you don't own Amazon. You should have the stuff you're selling on your website as well. If you have a book, for an example, and Amazon decides to take down your book, what do? If all your reviews, all your interactions with your book are hosted by Amazon. So duplicated content in that sense, to me, in 2024 is important to have as long as you are the owner of the main part of the duplicated content. Amazon can duplicate your content as long as you allow it. But if you have everything on someone else's territory, it's definitely more fragile.
Okay, so let's say you have 5 product pages on your site, which are duplicated on Amazon, TikTok, the equivalent of pages on those platforms as well. And because of that, Google has crawled those 5 pages on your site, but they haven't indexed them. So Amazon and TikTok, they're getting the traffic when someone searches for your product, right? And click on the site on those platforms. Isn't that a problem from a 2 point of view, an SEO point of view, and also a business point of view?
Definitely. But then I think if your pages are not appearing because Amazon and TikTok are appearing first, then you have an SEO problem, a pure SEO problem, where you should have a better authority for your brand name and product name to your website instead of Amazon's, instead of TikTok's. So again, it comes down now to another part of EAT, that's authority. You should be able to show more experience with your product on your website. You should be able to show more authority for the topic on your website than Amazon's. Yeah, Amazon is great for shipping and return policy. Cool. But when I think about Paulo, I want to think about Paulo's website and not Paulo's store on Amazon. Of course, people use Amazon as the storefront for their affiliate website, for their influencer link in bio. Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they should have their own website as the main source and Amazon and whatever else to be the second. So I understand that sometimes Google will prefer because Amazon has a higher domain authority, but you should at least have a good website with your expertise, your experience there. So Google has a chance to rank your website over Amazon, over TikTok.
Fascinating stuff, Paulo. Fascinating. I'm curious to know where all of the changes happening. There's a lot to keep up to date with. How do you keep updated with the latest within SEO and potentially a specific industry?
Yeah, I think newsletters are the best way for me. So I consume them at my own time. It's usually the first thing I do in the morning. I check my emails and then I check the newsletters. Going to conferences as well. I think it's very interesting to see some people that are the top of their game preparing something for you to talk about it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour about one topic and one topic only. Also, interviews like this one. I've been following your channel, and I mentioned it to you on LinkedIn how important it is, because when I started, there was no such thing to have people talking about SEO for more than 10 minutes on a bar at 1 a.m. So I think those are the three main ways for me: interviews, newsletters, conferences.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to ask you, end with this, Paulo. I want to ask you, what is the most important thing that people should know about Google search? And by people, I want to break it down into different types. So a search user, an SEO, and a business. So let's start with a search user. What do you think a search user should know about Google search or search in general?
I would say that not site operators, but search operators are so useful. So if you know, one of those games where people say, if you could share one thing with the whole world, what would it be? I usually say search operators. They are so useful. If you're looking for a PDF, you can use file type. If you're looking for a site, you can use site, and so on.
You are
So
old school SEO.
yeah, no, but maybe for the philosophical point of view would be that Google is also a business. So they're also trying to make money. If every search user could filter the very clear results that Google is trying to make money first, and then you have good results a little bit later, that could be something that every search user should know.
Okay. How about an SEO?
What every SEO should know about Google,
About Google search or search in general?
about that is always changing. Google is never the same year after year. I think if you check your emails from last year, you'll be seeing totally different topics, and it's still SEO. It doesn't happen with finance. It doesn't happen with, I don't know, Photoshop. Like Photoshop had this big change with AI. That was the last thing that happened in last, I don't know, 10 years. So SEO changes every 6 months completely, and we have to keep updated.
What should a business know about Google search or search in general?
Business should always put the user first over search. And I think that's contra intuitive, but that's what they should know about search, is that if they put the user first, then search will come second. But if they put search first, then the user doesn't come after. So, or not necessarily, but I think that would be the thing for business to know, that Google is not there to give them new customers. Google is there to make the customers they already have or already would have find them. So Google is a search engine. It's not a customer maker engine, you know?
I love that. Paulo, thank you so much for your time today. Where's the best place for people to find you online?
You can go to my website, pandraus.com. And I don't have a newsletter. I don't have a course. I just like SEO, like to share knowledge. And if you go to Brighton SEO in April, I'll be there. So say hi if you see me there.
Awesome, Paulo. It's been a fascinating conversation speaking with you today. Thank you so much for your time. I'll have your link in the description so people can get in touch with you. Paulo, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Cheers.